Welcome to the June monthly read of Signal to Decision Intelligence for AI Transformation. I'm M. Osman. For more than 18 years, I have worked inside enterprise data. Now I research how AI runs reliably in production. June moved the enterprise AI question from which model to which posture. What do you build, what do you buy, and what must you be able to walk away from? That last question matters when the price, the license, or a government changes the terms. That is the question this month put in front of every enterprise. It is the one I want to leave you holding. Everything in the next 14 minutes earns its place by answering one part of it. The question is back because of three numbers, and the board can delegate none of them. Start with what an agent is, because the whole month turns on it. An agent is software that does not just answer, it acts, it reads your data, calls a tool, updates a record, and takes the next step on its own. A chatbot gives you a wrong answer, an agent takes a wrong action. Now the numbers. On EY's June analysis, a complex agentic interaction costs about $1.20. A simple chatbot exchange in 2023 cost 4 cents. That is 30 times the unit cost. The two most capable models on the market went dark worldwide for 18 days on a United States government order, and the European Union's transparency duties land on August the 2nd with no deferral, cost access, and rules. One of them asks what buying costs you, one asks what you must be able to walk away from, and one puts a clock on both. Before the evidence, a word on whose question this is. Because AI does not land on one desk, it lands on the whole leadership table at once. So here is that table, all 11 seats. The teal figures are the seats advancing. That means the chair's decision agenda gained ground or tools this month. The darker figures are the seats at risk. That means a new obligation or exposure arrived that is not yet under control. 8 are advancing and 3 are at risk. The ringed seat is IT and data, and it carries more of June than any other chair. Find your own seat on that board before we go on. The 5 stories that follow are the evidence sitting underneath it. Start with what you must be able to walk away from. That is because June turned a supplier into a switch that somebody else controls. Follow the timeline. On June the 2nd, a White House executive order chose security review over product rules. It created a covered frontier model designation and a pre-release window for government review. A companion memorandum followed 3 days later. It told the national security agencies to adopt the most advanced models at speed. The most capable AI is now treated as a strategic asset. 10 days after that order, on June the 12th, the United States Commerce Department acted. It issued an export control order against Anthropic's two most capable models, Fable 5 and Mythos 5. No foreign national could use them until a license was in place. The company had no way to verify nationality at the scale its interface runs at. So it switched both models off worldwide within hours. British and European customers lost access with no notice and no contractual remedy. Here is the part that changes how you plan. The order was withdrawn on June the 30th after the company agreed to security monitoring and cooperation conditions. Access returned the next day. The whole episode ran 18 days from beginning to end. An export order is not an outage, and no credit note follows it. No service level agreement covers it. Brussels drew its own conclusion the same month. It selected a consortium to build an openly available European frontier model of more than 400 billion parameters. The model covers all 24 official European Union languages, and delivery is targeted within a year. So every AI dependency you now hold needs an exit you have actually tested. That test has to cover a political event, not only a technical one. That is the walking away limb. The second is what buying costs, and it lands on every invoice, so finance should see it first. The 30 times number is the headline, and EY counts 7 further cost lines behind it. They run from orchestration platforms through to failure recovery. A token is the unit AI usage is metered in. So an agent's invoice counts every token it consumed on the way to an answer, not just the answer. 2 readings make that real. Gartner has put a date on the curve. Coding token bills are set to pass the average developer's salary by 2028, and around 6% of technology leaders already pay more than $2,000 a developer a month. Gartner finds no direct link between that spending and productivity gained, which is the uncomfortable half of the finding. And the response has gone institutional. The FinOps Foundation reports 98% of cloud cost teams now manage AI spending. 2 years ago, that figure was 31%. Here is the trap underneath both. Prices per token keep falling while the bills keep rising. That is because an agent consumes tokens in loops a chatbot never ran. So an agent business case now needs three things it rarely has. It needs a unit cost per task, a spend cap wired into the gateway, and a named owner for both. If buying costs that much, the third limb asks what you can build on instead. In June, the answer improved on both halves of the screen. On the left, the open weight shelf filled fast. ZAI, Nvidia, and Google each shipped an open weight release. They range from a laptop-sized multimodal model up to a 550 billion parameter flagship. Open weights means a model whose trained parameters you download and run on your own machines under a license. You control where it runs and what it touches, and you also carry the operating burden. The strongest claim is parity with the leading closed coding model at roughly a sixth of the price. That claim is the maker's own. One distinction matters in procurement. Calling a Chinese lab's interface routes your data to infrastructure based in China, while self-hosting the same weights does not. The standing evidence still points the other way though, and it deserves respect. On Menlo Ventures Enterprise Survey, internally built use cases fell from 47 to 24% in a year. Open source share fell from 19 to 11%, and two closed vendors took 2/3 of enterprise model spending. Buying and Buying Closed won 2025. Bain's survey of 951 companies adds the base rate underneath all of it. Measured initiatives most often delivered savings below 10%, and the barrier named most often is data access and integration. Which brings us to the right of the screen, where the plumbing arrived. Inside 3 weeks, Snowflake, Fivetran with dbt Labs, Microsoft and Databricks all shipped the same idea under different names. The idea is this: give an AI agent governed, defined data, not a raw table and a prompt. Then put one gateway in front of it. That gateway routes each request to a chosen model, caps the spending, and keeps the audit trail in one layer. And Gartner frames the stakes on its forecast: 40% of enterprises will demote or decommission their AI agents by 2027. The reason is governance gaps. Whichever posture you choose, the data layer is still where the value is won or lost. The fourth limb is where all of this actually runs. After 18 dark days, whose soil your AI sits on stopped being an architecture footnote and became a budget line. In June, the United Kingdom put public and private money behind computed controls. It starts with a £1.1 billion government hardware plan, a coalition including HSBC, Lloyds, National Westminster, BT and BAE Systems lined up behind a sovereign frontier model. They are targeting deployment by the end of this year. Nebius committed about £1.7 billion to 4 British data center sites. And Cambridge launched a sovereign AI laboratory on a non-NVIDIA stack open to National Health Service trusts and public bodies. A subsidized national compute route is open to eligible teams until the 17th of July. The same shift runs further ahead in the Gulf, in Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. But both sets of dates are targets rather than confirmed operations. What it changes for you is concrete. For a regulated British organization where your AI runs is now a real choice. An infrastructure tender can name its geography, and that is because the supply to meet it exists. The fifth limb is the clock over all of the others, and two clocks are now running in opposite directions. On the left is August the 2nd. When the European Union's transparency duties land, the Commission's enforcement powers over general-purpose model providers begin the same day. Those duties mean labeling AI-generated content and telling people when they are dealing with an AI. The fines reach 3% of worldwide turnover or 15 million euros. The only softening is a grace period on watermarking for systems already on the market. If you sell into the European Union, that date is yours. On the right is December 2027, where the heavier, high risk obligations are set to move out. That depends on the simplification package being published in the official journal. Parliament and Council have both approved it, but until that publication happens, it is not law. So keep any high risk program on low burn rather than standing it down. The asymmetry is itself the decision. The firm building heavy high risk compliance is in line for its reprieve. The firm with a customer-facing chatbot is not. The United Kingdom went lighter again from the 19th of June. It widened the lawful ground for significant automated decisions while requiring safeguards around them. But a British firm selling into the European Union still meets that august duty. 5 forces then. You have what you can walk away from, what buying costs, and what you can build on, then where it runs and the clock over all of it. Here is the answer they add up to. It is one decision per workload. Never one decision for the whole firm. 4 questions score each workload. Does the open tier pass your own quality tests? Is the token bill material at volume? Is there a residency or an exit constraint? And what stays yours regardless? The answers sort into 3 postures. By the frontier, where quality genuinely differentiates the outcome and the workload can tolerate vendor risk. Boost open weights, where the open tier clears your quality bar, or where volume, residency, or exit rights argue for control. And build only what makes you different. That is the workflow, the evaluation harness, and the data layer. Never the base model. The 2025 record is the warning behind that last one. Firms that try to build differentiation into the model layer mostly retreated. What endures is your organization's data and evaluation muscle, not the app. None of that works without one discipline underneath it, and the screen names it in 3 steps. Define the thing once, decide who may act on it. Keep the audit trail. Anyone who has run enterprise data will recognize that shape immediately because it is the master data discipline in new clothes. It is also the sentence I would put on the wall. You can only rote what you have governed. Those 5 forces are what earn the next sentence. It is the one place I put my neck out. A read you can be wrong about is worth more than a fact everyone already holds. Within 12 months, I think the default enterprise posture becomes mixed. That means a bought frontier tier and a boosted open weight tier, both behind one gateway. Caps and audit become standard controls. 2 signs will tell you which way it went. If I am right, model exit clauses and gateway requirements start appearing as named lines in requests for proposals. If I am wrong, enterprise spending reconcentrates into single vendor frontier interfaces through 2027, with open weight shares still falling. So what do you actually do on Monday morning? 4 things. Take your chair's question to the next leadership agenda with a named owner against it. Price your 3 biggest AI workloads per task. Wire a cap into the gateway and test the exit. Scope those August duties. Now, if anything customer facing uses generative AI, and check the license of every open weight model in a product you sell into Europe. And if you are early in your career with no budget and no agenda to own, do this. Price 1 agent task end to end and be the analyst in the room who can. That was June, start to finish. 1 month, 5 forces and 1 question underneath all of them. What do you build? What do you buy? And what must you be able to walk away from? That last question matters. When the price, the license, or a government changes the terms. June's answer is that the organizations who get to choose are the ones that did the unglamorous work first. They built one governed data foundation, gave each agent named permissions, and kept the doorway under their own control. That work keeps every option open, whatever Washington, Brussels, or the price list does next. This month's edition of Signal to Decision is on LinkedIn, and you can subscribe freely. This has been Signal to Decision Intelligence for AI Transformation. Thank you for listening.